Hello friends, welcome to Tronic. In this video, I will show you how to use the Python programming language with the Selenium automation tool to write automation scripts. If you would like to follow along, please make sure that you have installed Python and Selenium on your machine. Time-consuming tasks are always something one should try to automate. May that be gathering or formatting of data, mass file operations, notifications, or anything in between. The possibilities are endless. In this example, we are going to automate a gameplay action in a browser game called Kingdoms. What will be covered is the logic to log in and the logic to attack another player. So, let's get the party started, create an account, and open up your code editor of choice. I am using Visual Studio Code, so please create a Python file called login. After that, let's write a few import statements. We have to import the WebDriver from the Selenium package. Next up, we have to import a class called by, which we will use to get a reference on the specific element. Next up, we have to import a class called options. Great. Now let's define the options. Options.headless to false will instruct our browser to open up so that we can have a visual overview of what is happening while the script is running. Next up, let's define the driver. Great. Let us now create a method. I am going to call mine login. And please, at the bottom of the script, write the if statement. Which will instruct the interpreter to execute this method called login. Let's think about it for a second. As a regular user, I would navigate to the page of the game. I would click on this green login button, which will show me the login form. Inside here, I would type in my email and my password. I would press the login button in order to log in. So the same steps we have to recreate in our script. Copy the link of the game and in our editor write driver get paste the link. With this line, we have instructed our browser to go to this specific URL. Below, write down a sleep timeout statement. This will give the browser 2 seconds of wait before it continues with the execution of the script. Import this method from time. Back to our browser, we have to find a reference to this green login button. Open up Developer Tools, select Inspector, and select this button. As you can see, it highlighted the button here for us. The button is inside a tag. Click on this A tag and select the XPath. We are going to use this tag, this element, to trigger the functionality to open up the model, since there is an event listener on this element. Back to our code, write driver, find element by XPath, and paste the string. Now we have to call a method called click. This will instruct the browser to click on this specific element, which in our case is the green login button. Give it another sleep timeout for 2 seconds. Below, let's write a try block which will print an error message in case we cannot log in. Save the file. Back to our browser. Once we click on this login button, we have to find a reference to the email and password fields. Inspect those elements. If you take a look at the email field and scroll up, you can see we have the HTML tag with the body tag that contains an iframe, which then contains another iframe that contains the form, which contains the 2 fields with the login button. So let's reference first the first iframe, and I'm going to use in this case the iframe's class name, since this is not going to change very often. Back to the editor, in our try block, type driver, find element by class name, and paste the string. Since our driver is in the default context behaving, it gets the elements on the first HTML tag, we have to instruct it to switch to the iframe tag and then to switch to this iframe in order to get these elements that are inside of it. To do so, go back to your editor and type driver switch to frame, and we are going to name this frame first frame and paste this first frame as an argument. Good. Back to the browser. We are currently in the first frame, so we have to go inside the second frame. We are currently here. We have to go to this frame over here. Let's get a reference to this frame. Right click on it and select, in this case, the XPath. Name the variable second frame. Driver, we're going to find this element by XPath and paste the string. As said earlier, we have to instruct the driver to go from this frame to this one in order to get the elements that we want, which is in our case the email and password field. So we have to write again driver switch to frame, and this time second frame. Now that we have done that, we are able to get elements that are inside this second frame. If we look at the email field, we can see it's an input field with the name of email. So let's find this input field. We are going to say driver find element by xpath, and we are looking for an input with the name of email. And on this element here, we want to write something. We will call the method sendKeys, but for now we'll not pass any arguments to it. Copy this line below, and let's take a look at the password. Here as well we have an input field with the name of password. So we can use the same logic. We're just going to replace the email to password. Now let's take a look at the login button. Okay, so as you can see, this is actually not a button. It is a input field that has a name submit and a type submit, which sort of behaves like a button. So we can, in our editor, copy the previous line again and paste it below, and instead of password, we're looking for submit. Now this one will not send any keys. We're not typing anything in this field. We're going to click on it. And in the two above, for email and for the password, we need to pass values in. So up in our script, we will define our user email and our user password. As a side note, I will change my password as soon as I finish recording, so do not waste time in trying to log in with these credentials. Save the file. As you can see, we have got the reference to the email, password, and submit fields. We have now to pass in the value for the email. Inside here, we're going to say user email, and in the one below, we want to pass the user password. Save the file and let's try it out. So we have logged in. Let's finalize this script by maximizing the browser's width and height. In the editor, write driver.maximize window. Also, we are going to implicitly instruct the driver to wait for 5 seconds. And since we have a new page, we want our browser to go back to the default content. Switch to default content. Save the file and let's rerun the script. As you can see, we have successfully logged in. In the next part, we will be expanding our knowledge by writing a automation script that will attack another player. I would like to leave you with a challenge. Try to create a automation script that will log in inside the following website called frontofheroes.com. This is a browser game that I created. I will leave the link in the description. Thank you for watching this video. Again, check out the Python and Selenium documentation to learn more. Like and subscribe, and I see you in the next one.